Egon Durbin and Mike Meldman came in as partners. And so with Tom Wagner and Egon and Mike, they're just brilliant business people. And they were going to add to the infrastructure of the business side of the organization as well as some things on the other side. But bringing in Tom Brady was bringing in somebody that was on the football side that I had been lacking having here at the organization. Back in, I guess it was 18, with John Gruden, he was somebody that I brought in and really expected to be that person on the football side that would bring stability to the organization. He had a 10-year contract and all that, and his head was chopped off. And we were put in a really bad position as an organization. And we tried to get it right with Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler. That didn't work out. Antonio Pierce was given the interim job, and I believe the job that he did as an interim coach warranted him earning the job as head coach of the Raiders. Last season didn't go as well we had hoped it would. 3 teams in our division were in the playoffs. The Chiefs are in the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in a row. And we just felt there was time for a change. So now I go back to the infrastructure that we've built up here in the organization over the during the season with the people that we brought in. We also, the process was a little bit different this year in going after the head coach. We hired Corn Ferry and a fellow by the name of Jed Hughes. And Jed helped us to identify and coordinate certain people that we were interested in interviewing, as well as some that they had on their thing. And so the interview group was myself, Tom Brady, Mike Meldman, Egon Durbin, and Tom Wagner, with help in the background with Sandra Morgan, and Larry Delson, and Tom Delaney. And we went through a very rigorous process of interviewing people, and by the time we were done, we knew that it was going to be, there were 3 or 4 people that we were truly interested in, and when one person made a decision to go to another team, it became clear that Pete was going to be our guy. And on the other side of the coin, John Spytek, really impressed us from the get-go, and so he was chosen as the general manager.
You've known Pete for a long time. What stood out in this process as far as getting to know Pete in the interview process, and what stood out for you?
The interview with Pete was one of the first ones we did. It might have been the first one we did. And his energy was amazing. It's funny, when my mom found out Carol was going to be the head coach, my mom's Carol Davis. She just turned 93. She thought we were talking about her. But I told her, no, we're doing Pete Carroll because we're looking for youth. So that's how that worked out. But Pete, I've watched Pete for a number of years. I watched him at USC. And where I really watched him was when he was at Seattle and competing with the 49ers. And the Niners were the bully on the block. And Seattle actually was one of the one teams that figured out how to beat him and beat him pretty damn good. So I was impressed with Pete's, again, he brings up the word competitiveness. And I think that shows throughout his career. And he's a football guy. He loves football. And he wanted to be a Raider.
Mark, how have you changed over your process as an owner?
Well, every day you learn. And you just try to learn from things, and that's what you do.
Did you think you had Ben Johnson?
What's that?
Did you think you had Ben Johnson?
No, we didn't think we had Ben Johnson. We never made an offer to Ben Johnson, and he's a Chicago Bear.
When you looked at John Spytek and what he was able to help do in Tampa Bay, building up all those draft classes, how did you imagine him being able to do that here?
Well, I'm hoping he can do it here, and that's why he's here. Again, he worked with Tom Brady there. He brought Tom Brady in with the group there, and to Mike's chagrin. But they won a Super Bowl. But everything I've heard about him from other people and talking to people outside the organization and other organizations, he's a home run.
One of the things Pete said, he made it clear a few times that he's going for it immediately and trying to win right away, and trying to go all in to do so. Is that sort of the message that you sent? It's kind of an edict for him to take on?
No, that's not the message that we sent. We want to build something here. And again, that's been the process and the mindset all along. Like I said, it got offset or kind of blown up when John Gruden was sent away. And so we've been trying to get it right since then. And we'll see. But I've got patience to get it right, and I think we've got the people now. Again, I've always felt that, and results are what speak to me, and that's what we'll see. But I'm really excited about it. Hopefully this won't be an annual thing.
Mark, just talk about, I guess, the humility it takes as owner to defer to guys like Tom Brady, and maybe some owners would want to have the finals, run a tight ship in that.
Well, I'd like to say that, again, I've been telling y'all ever since the beginning of this that the one thing I know is what I don't know, and I'm going to surround myself with people that do know those things. And I'm going to give them the opportunity to do their job. And I give them vision, goals, we talk about those things, but results are what speak. And so it's fairly easy to do that if you understand where you are. I've been around some great football people in my lifetime. When you talk about my father, you talk about John Madden, you talk about Tom Flores, you talk about Ron Wolf, and all of these people have helped me along the way. And so I know what it takes in all of that. And I think we've got the infrastructure now in this organization to move into the future.
When Pete was in Seattle, all they talked about was his culture and what he built culture-wise, players, everyone said that. What do you want the culture to be under Pete?
Well, again, it's the Raider way under Pete. Pete is somebody that is a winner on and off the field, and he builds a culture. I think Antonio Pierce was building a culture here with the players, and that was important. I think we have to continue to build upon that. I will say this, that team last year did not quit, and that was really one of the toughest things about making the change was the fact that they played for him. And it's something that I'll always be grateful for. But we'll see what we build here. But it's still the Raiders, and that's something that everybody's got to remember.
They mentioned quite a bit in the pressers their love for football. They have to have guys that love football, love football. You mentioned a bunch of guys that help influence you in football. Did you kind of get that same sense when you were hearing that for love for football guys?
I did, and I think that was one of the criteria that was given to Corn Ferry from us. That had to be one of the ingredients that the candidates have.
And Mark, when you say it's important to remember they're still the Raiders, what does that entail when it comes to merging that philosophy with whoever's incoming like Pete?
Well, commitment to excellence, pride and poise, just win. Greatness of the Raiders is in its future. Those are all things that are not just statements, but they're something that we live by. When you talk about Raider fans, they're not just football fans, they're fans of a way of life. And it's something that we remember around here at all times. The most valuable asset we have is our alumni. And it's their blood, sweat, and tears that helped build this building right here, built that magnificent stadium, and everything else, and things we'll never forget. So that's what it is. It's about family. It's about being a Raider. It's once a Raider, always a Raider.
When you were going through the interview process with John and with Pete, was there something that pleasantly surprised you that you learned about him that really struck out to you?
I think a lot of things, actually. I thought Pete's energy, but also Pete's again, love for the game and how badly he wanted to be a Raider. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. He wanted to be a Raider. And John, again, just at meeting him for the first time through the interview process, I was very impressed with his desire to work hard and build it the right way. So those were things that, I'm not saying they were surprising to me, but they were attributes that I was very impressed with.
You mentioned it was hard to move on from Antonio. Same with Tom Telesco. Was it a tough decision also?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they both did good things. I mean, Tom did a great job in the draft and everything else, but there's more to the job than that. And I'm grateful for him for what he did for us in the draft and those things. I'm grateful for what Antonio's done for this organization. I really am, and I absolutely wish them the best.
Thanks,
All right, thanks, you guys.